Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with episode number 4 in our League of Champions series. I am a little under the weather today, but I wanted to go ahead and make sure I got this video out for you guys. So I'm recording this on the 17th. It should be up in the morning. This is going to be a pretty exciting episode. Our 3 games for the episode are going to be against Real Madrid, Olympiakos, and Bayern Munich to finish things off. So as of right now, if you guys remember from the last episode, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go back and watch it. All 3 of the first episodes, they're pretty good watch. A little disappointing to not come out with more wins in the episodes, but we are going to be coming into this game, I believe, in like 19th place out of 24 teams. So coming up against Real Madrid, not exactly what you want to kind of get back into the swing of things, but the game goes relatively well, just in terms of kind of getting my gameplay back together, making sure that everything's kind of working well and there's some synergy between the teams, and obviously that players are kind of a little bit more informed for me. Obviously their form doesn't really change in tournament mode, I don't believe, so not too big of a deal, but it definitely helps me to kind of get used to playing with the players. So, talking a little bit about Real Madrid, obviously the big news coming out, other than the fact that Zidane got elected, I guess, the next manager, is that they do have a transfer ban. It's going to go into effect after this transfer window for a calendar year. So, that'll definitely be interesting to see how that all pans out, because obviously Real Madrid, a very big spending club, but they're really not that big of a January spending club, so I don't really see them. Maybe they bring in one player, but I don't know if it'll be that big of a name, because not many teams are looking to sell right now. As you see, they just kind of cut me open and go straight down the middle and go ahead and score. Before that goal, I felt like I was all over Madrid. I mean, they had a couple chances here and there, but I felt like I was definitely doing more work. But after that, I felt like it was impossible to come back into the game, but they really weren't playing that well either. But getting back into Real Madrid, Zidane is confident that he can get the ban overturned, which I really wouldn't be too surprised. The ban is for the signing of youth players and transferring of youth players, same thing Barcelona got hit with last year. So he also made the comment that he believes that English teams are also going to be hit for that, which I'm not entirely too sure how accurate that is, because I don't know how much transferring of youth players there really is. It may be amongst the lower teams, but not really the big teams. Maybe a team like Manchester United, I would say, might do it and get hit with a fine. I don't really see Manchester City getting hit with it. I know they have a few youth players in the squad, but I want to say that their super youth players they all got from actually scouting and just going to get the players instead of a transfer market. So I don't know how accurate that statement is that Premier League teams are next in the hunting of transfer bans, basically. Like I said, I don't really see them bringing too many people in January. They never really do. Nobody really does, to be fair. So it'll definitely be interesting to see. I think they might bring in maybe another midfielder if they lose Isco. So we'll kind of see how that goes, or at least one of their midfielders. They all kind of seem to be, some are happy with how things are going. Modric is happy and stuff like that, obviously getting into the team of the year this year, which was incredibly great. That was huge for him. I want to say that he deserved it. He played well this season, you can't argue that, but there were too many Real Madrid players in the league to not have silverware in the previous year. You can't say that they should have almost the majority of Team 11 players. I think it's just turning into a popularity contest at this point, which is a big problem with a lot of these super teams and all-star games and stuff like that. Especially in like American sports, it's always a personality contest, a popularity contest to see who can kind of, I guess, pull out the fan votes to get into the game more so than it is their actual performance. And I'm a little worried that even coaches and other players are starting to get into that habit where they're just kind of picking players based on their overall prior performance instead of their actual gameplay over the last year. So overall, like I said, Real Madrid, I wouldn't really think that we're going to see this transfer ban last very long, and if they do, then they're just going to do the same thing as Barcelona did and actually transfer the players but just not play them until the following window is over. So Nonetheless, I don't think it'll be really that big of a deal. I think if you are going to ban a team from transfers, they shouldn't be allowed to do anything in general. I guess you can't really stop that though. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid kind of go about that situation. Coming into the next game after that 1-0 defeat, I believe we're still in the same spot in the league in 19th to 20th place. So coming up against Olympiakos, definitely wanted to get a win here. Olympiakos is a team very familiar to Arsenal fans. I feel like they're in our group almost every year at this point for Champions League. They beat us in the first game of this Champions Group stage this year, or last year, I guess. So it was a little surprising, but they're definitely a good team. You can't argue that they're not a good team and shouldn't be in this top 24 list because, I mean, they prove year in, year out that they deserve to be in the Champions League. This year, you know, kind of getting a little shafted by being put in the group of Arsenal and Bayern, which kind of just put them in a bad spot altogether. Because I don't think Arsenal is really ever going to just fall out of the Champions League. Arsene Wenger just doesn't do that. He stays in the Champions League somehow every year. So they will be going to the Europa League once again. I would kind of like to see them progress and get a little bit better this year in the Europa League, but there's going to be a lot of big names in that for them to play and beat. So I don't really know if they're going to be able to. As you guys are going to see, I kind of bossed this game a little bit. I get some opportunities, but none of them really go through. Jack Wilshere is not really playing that good for me. I'm not a big fan of him in this game, to be honest. He was definitely better in the past few games. But, you know, if I ever do an actual career mode with Arsenal, I may actually transfer Jack Wilshere, to be honest. Because, you know, he was always that player that no Arsenal fan ever wanted to transfer. And if you did transfer him, you get a solid, like, 40, 50, even 60 mil. You're going to see in the 45th minute right before halftime. I just triple tapped it straight into the box and just kind of hoped that something would happen. Honestly thought I was going to be my striker in there in time to get the goal, but the defender ended up knocking into the back of the net anyways. So we take a 1-0 lead going into halftime. But Olympiakos, definitely a good squad. Obviously, I believe that is also the team that Joel Campbell spent a year on loan at as well. So that they're definitely part of his growth as a player, which, you know, we definitely are in a little bit of their debt for, because I mean he's turning out to be a great player. Obviously, he's played for multiple different teams over the past few years. Definitely just waiting for his time to shine at Arsenal. Hoping he gets that chance a little bit more often. As you guys have been seeing, they have been playing quite a bit in the squad with switching out Oxlade-Chamberlain and Joel Campbell while Alexis Sanchez has been out. So it'll be good to see. As you guys are going to see here, I couldn't beat the Olympiakos defensive pace, so I just tried to do it a little bit more with strength and just hit it over the top with Giroud. He's not the paciest guy on the team, obviously, but I knew if I threw it over the top, he could kind of hold off the defenders and push him back. As you guys are going to see, they tried to slide tackle me in the box. Really surprised that didn't go through. And a beautiful finish while he's sliding to just lob it over the keeper. It wasn't a strong hit at all, which is really surprising because usually when you slide into the ball, that ball rockets into the back of the net. So really impressed with Giroud's finish there. Definitely want to keep him going in the squad because Welbeck, although he did well that one game, he hasn't really been turning out goals as much as I would really like. But that might be the type of game that I'm playing right now. Getting kind of accumulated to the Arsenal team instead of obviously the Eibar team has kind of been a little difficult for me. I have to play a little bit different style football because I can pass a little bit better in this team, but in certain positions there's not as much pace and not as much other kind of variabilities between the Eibar team and the Arsenal team, both good and bad. So we do end up conceding a goal in the 61st minute. You guys see I kind of play with the lineup a little bit. Just want to bring in a little extra talent and energy into the squad before the end of the game. They attacked for those following 40 minutes over and over. I wasn't even on defensive. They were just getting through me every time, and it just felt like none of my players really wanted to chase down the ball, which may have been a stamina issue, but I felt like I could not get rid of the ball. As you guys can see here in the 80th minute, I get one more opportunity here with Welbeck to kind of just run through their team, but like I said, the pace just really didn't feel like it was there with the team, which is kind of my fault for not pushing the ball out more. So they do steal the ball from me and hit it upfield. I've noticed when you do lob balls and you do route one type playing in late games, the defense just falls apart. Maybe it's just Arsenal because it's happened to me a lot, but if you don't push your players back and kind of, I guess, uh, not accumulate, but take back and push back again with your defenders and put them in a defensive position, you're going to get beat over the top every time. And like you saw, Koscielny was pushed really high up the field. Mertesacker, not the fastest guy in the world, so not somebody that you want sitting back there by himself. My passing was atrocious. It felt like I didn't know where the ball was going to go when I pressed X every time. So they get one more opportunity here in the 90th minute. Managed to ride out with this victory. You guys are going to see, I think, the last corner of the game. They definitely had a lot of good opportunities to bring in this win, and it honestly had me the edge of my seat because you guys know I need this win, especially over a team like Olympiakos. No offense to them, but they're definitely not the Bayerns, Real Madrids, and Barcelonas of the world. So I want to make sure I can at least get the easy points, quote-unquote easy points, in the league so that whenever I go up against these super teams that I can, I guess, have it just more fun with it and try to not think too much and worry too much about the game. So to end the episode here, we're going to go up against the Bayern Munich, another team from our group stage this year, a team that Arsenal is very familiar with because we seem to always play them in the knockout stages or group stages of the Champions League. We're destined to play each other. This year we managed, obviously, to get through the group stage in second place with them, and we will be playing Barcelona here in a couple weeks. So definitely going to be a good game to watch, and I believe we have Barcelona coming up in the next episode or the episode after that in this series, so that'll definitely be good to watch, and hopefully it kind of comes pretty close to the Arsenal game and Barcelona game so that it'll kind of tie storylines together pretty well. So starting off this game, they were definitely, I wouldn't say bossing possession, but you could definitely feel that I was playing against Bayern. Their passing was beautiful. They were able to cut through my defense and just pull defenders out of place, which is mainly my fault, but at the same time, some of the defenders, when it's computer controlled, is also not very reliable. So here in the 43rd minute, right before halftime, I do get a goal with Theo Walcott. He was just in the right place at the right time. He didn't really burn with his pace like usual. He was just right there sitting in an attacking position and just slotted it home past Manuel Neuer. So speaking a little bit about Bayern, obviously everybody knows Bayern. Bayern's best team in the world, arguably. Didn't win the Champions League last year. This is Pep Guardiola's last season, so I think they're definitely going to try absolutely as hard as possible to get the Champions League Cup this year, so that he can ride out. Everybody's kind of confused as where Pep Guardiola is going to go, especially with his latest comment that it may be 2 years before he actually manages in a Premier League squad. So with that said, you know, you have the possibility of LVG managing for 2 more years, and if things don't work out, then he takes over Manchester United. If things don't work out with Chelsea with their interim manager, you know, that'll also give him an opportunity there. I don't see him managing Chelsea just because he is a bit of an Arsenal fan, not trying to just, I guess, focus your mind on that media side instead of the rest of it, but he is an Arsenal fan. Obviously, they play a lot closer to the Barcelona style than most Premier League teams, so it would definitely be an easy transition for him to come into the Arsenal squad, and Wenger has noted, as you guys see this beautiful goal to take the lead against Bayern with Giroud, he just places it right over Manuel Neuer. 2 amazing finishes in this episode from Giroud, so really impressed with him, and beautiful cross from Alexis Sanchez. But if he, like I said, I don't see him going to Chelsea. He may go to Arsenal. It's definitely a possibility, with Wenger saying that he really only has about 2 more years left in him. And I think that's definitely going to be true if we don't win the league title this season or next season. I think the FA Cup is going to become a little irrelevant to Arsenal fans because we have been winning it so often. We kind of want a little bit more. Even if we lost the FA Cup this year but won the Premier League, we'd be happy. You know, it's a major piece of silverware, not that the FA Cup isn't, but it puts us in a really good place. Bayern goes ahead and levels it right here in the 67th minute, so a little worried at this point, but here in the 89th to 90th minute, we get a couple more opportunities here to take the lead. Theo Walcott just cuts through the defense and then passes it beautifully to Coquelin, who just nails it into the back of the net, and Manuel Neuer can't get to it in time. So 90th minute goal, a little cheesy, but you know, I'll take a 3-2 win however I get it. a bit sweaty, but when you're playing against Manuel Neuer, you can't take him one-on-one. It's just not going to work out for you. So, beautiful goal there. We do win this game 3-2 against Bayern Munich, so that puts everybody in a good place. That drops points, obviously, for Bayern, allows Man City to catch up a little bit. I believe Bayern is on 39 and Manchester City is on 32. So, catching up a little bit on these squads and allowing us to come back in the league a little bit. After this, at the end of this episode, I believe we're in 17th place, but tied with a lot of teams that we can move up to top 12, I believe, in the next episode if we continue the form that we're on. So, as this game comes to a close, like I said, Bayern, arguably one of the best teams in the year. Definitely think they're going to push as hard as possible with Lewandowski and that front three that's beautiful for Bayern this year in the Champions League. They're already in a comfortable position in the league, so I don't really see them worrying too much about Dortmund sneaking up on them or any of the other teams. They're just going to play like they always do, not worry too much about it, and then focus as much energy as possible onto the Champions Cup to let Pep Guardiola ride out with a victory. So that is going to be the end of this episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the video. Make sure you check out the A-Bar Career Mode series that's going on every other day, alternating with this series. And until then, I'll see you guys later.